Hey guys, it's been a while. Took a little bit of a break to really try to lock in on school and just get a few things out of the way. But here I am. I'm back again, and I was thinking of topics for today's video. And there's one that came to my mind that I don't feel like I've really talked about a whole lot. And it's my biggest piece of advice to anybody, really. And it's something I feel like I really haven't touched up on as much as I should have. Even though it's so blatantly obvious. I'd hope. It might be blatantly obvious to some, but not so much to others. This is the simple idea of not going back to somebody who is in your past now. This is something that, as you guys know, I have not been good at. I am one in the past who has gone back to people from my past. I've done this, good lordy, a couple times now, in the past few years. I mean, the biggest thing with that is it usually comes from a place of immaturity. It just stems from not really knowing enough about the dating scene and just essentially growth altogether. I mean, going back to somebody from your past doesn't really just determine your dating life, but it also really determines you as a person as well. Because when you go back to somebody from your past, what you allow to happen is essentially for old habits that you had while you were with that person to come back out. I'm not really sure why or how that happens, but I think it's just nature and who we are as people, and the means of our brains simply associating this person with a certain chapter of our lives. When we are in the same presence of this person, it might, in a sense, trick our brains into thinking that we are still in that chapter of our lives. So the habits that we had during that time are still okay to do. This is far from the truth. When you don't allow yourself to let go from the past and the people from your past, you don't allow yourself to become a better person. You stay stuck in the same place and you go nowhere. You will never learn and you will never grow if you are trying to rekindle with people from the past. It does you no good. Not only does it not allow you to grow, but a majority of the time will allow you to end up in more pain as well. This is what's happened to me. I mean, look at me. You want to know how I can define 2024? It's by this. Not knowing when to quit with somebody who's already gone. In 2024, literally just played the game the wrong way. And what I did was tried to bring somebody from 2023 back into 2024. Because my ass didn't do the right things to become better and heal mentally and spiritually. I made all the mistakes, really. I didn't do things to allow myself to become better and to move on. I let it simmer in my head, and I let it just sit there forever and ever and ever, and would always be thinking about it. And I guess I was convinced that if I waited long enough, the person would come back. As this channel represents, that obviously didn't happen. And it's for the better. It's a good thing it never happened, because it stopped me from continuing to pour water over my eyes. It allowed me to see clearer and allowed me to see the reality of my situation, and allowed me to see the fool that I was being. As much as you want to be able to point the finger in different directions and blame other outside reasons for why you're still feeling this way about somebody, all you have to blame is yourself. You can do whatever you want, really. You can be mad at them for 10 more years. You can want revenge on them. You can plot your vengeance against this person and try to be better than them. But why are you wasting your time at all thinking about them? What are you doing, man? Why are you still thinking about them? Like, Christ, it's been 5-6 months now, and then that time passes and turns into a year. Why has it been a year and you're still thinking about this person? That's the point that I got to. A year had passed and I was still thinking about this person. A person who had no relevancy in my life, who I hadn't had a conversation with in so long. Somebody that literally had no purpose of occupying space in my brain. Do you know what other things I could have been doing instead? Do you know how many other things I could have accomplished or achieved with that brain power that I had used on thinking about somebody who wasn't there anymore? It's like pretending you own a Porsche or a luxury car or any luxury item that's not actually there. You can pretend and make yourself believe that this person, or in this case, this car, is going to be in your life, or that you own it, but it's not there. It's not there, it's gone, and you gotta bring yourself back to reality and allow yourself to think more clearly about what's more important. You can pretend that someone's coming back as much as you want, and you can wait for them as much as you want, but all you're doing is making yourself more miserable. You're thinking about the wrong things at the wrong time. And when you occupy space in your brain for someone who's not there, you don't allow enough space in your brain for the things that are there, like school, work, all those other things. So while you're trying to focus and get through your everyday life and do the things you need to do just to function, your brain is already stuck thinking about something else. And that's what was happening to me. I mean, my spring semester, my freshman year of college, this past year, went to shit. My grades sunk. I mean, you want to know why? Because two things. I was spent thinking about somebody who wasn't there, and because of this, to cope with that, all I did was fucking jack off all the time as a way to cope and make myself feel better. When all it did was decay my brain even more and allow me to not move on from the past. I mean, shit. You gotta do the right things to move on from the wrong people. It's a simple concept. But at the same time, it's so hard to grasp your brain around. You can tell yourself so many things, and you can gaslight yourself as much as you want. You can speak words as much as you want, but if those words and all that so-called gaslighting never turns into any action, you're not going anywhere. You're going to be continuously stuck in the same endless loop for the rest of your days. Until you learn what's there and what's not. Until you learn about the people that are there in your life and that matter, understanding that somebody will come into your life that's substantially better, and allowing yourself to acknowledge what's important and what's not. Make a physical list if you have to. Make a list of the things that are actually important in your life. Write them down. It's like a pros and cons, essentially, for your life. The pros are the things that are important and that you should be thinking about. The cons are the things that are occupying space in your brain and are literally, quite literally, brain rot. They're sending you on the wrong path and putting you in the wrong direction for the rest of your life. And if you don't do anything about these things, your dating life is not going to improve. You're going to have the same mindset, and you're just going to keep doing and partaking in the same habits you have been with all of the past people. And then you're going to end up doing this same cycle over and over again. We don't want that, do we? Do me a favor. Next time you get the temptation to text somebody or talk to somebody that's not around anymore, think about it in a sense of, I don't know how to explain it, but in a way, kind of try to dissect it, kind of like in a sense how it was done, for example, 500 Days of Summer. I'm sure some of you have seen that movie before. Take apart the reality and what your brain made it to be. Take those pieces and put them side by side. And acknowledge the reality. And look at it this way. Why have you been waiting all this time? Think about that. Ask yourself that. Why have you been waiting? Have you been waiting for a text? Has she texted you? Has it been over a year that you've been thinking about this, and she hasn't even acknowledged your presence? Doesn't follow you on any social media? Doesn't view your stories, like your posts? Hasn't sent you a text message? If she hasn't done any of those things, why are you still thinking about her? About that person? Like, why? What are you doing? I understand you might not be able to control it, but there are ways and methods that you can do to reel yourself back in. It's not hopeless. It's not over. And you can do this. But you need to believe in that. You need to believe that you can do this and get those unhelpful thoughts about whoever this person might be out of your brain. Don't let one person's absence ruin the potential of your presence. Maybe that doesn't make sense. But in time, it'll only be a representation for how you can understand the gravity of the things you're capable of. The things you can achieve when your brain is in the right places. When her absence is acknowledged, you can show up on time and you can be present. And your presence determines your future. So be present. Think about the present. Be in today, live in today, and fuck the past. That's all I got for today. Stay blessed.